Hi, good afternoon. I'm Rachel Kerschneider, and welcome to another segment of Spirited Prosperity. I am so excited to have a guest with us today who has a background in music that is just absolutely unbelievable. And when I first saw him, I thought, man, am I seeing, I wasn't sure who I was seeing. I was seeing somebody attractive, somebody talented, and somebody who just has such a faith within him that I was just absolutely mesmerized. And I think you will be too. Please join me today in welcoming Tom Humbert. He is a band leader, a vocalist, and a composer. And I am going to let him tell you a little bit about the music that he's been performing and also about his new CD. And Tom, I want you to give us a little bit of background because I know this latest collection is new for you. And if you would just kind of tell us what your background has been in music and in film, and then what kind of propelled you to release this new CD of yours.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I started out very young. My earliest recollections of music was probably when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And I was performing with my brothers who are older, and we had a little band, and we used to sit in the basement and play on little cardboard boxes with drumsticks. And, ever since that moment, my father and mother have been musical, but not professionally. And so they always encouraged us to be creative and to do our thing. And one day they said, there's a show called Ray Heatherton Talent Show or Talent Hour. And we went to that and we performed on there. And since that moment, I guess, I was a little bitten by the bug of, maybe show business but it became really a passion and a way that I could communicate in ways that was very normal, very natural. And so since that moment, I continued to study music. I went to some conservatory of music in Connecticut called the Hart School, and I studied vocal performance, piano, classical guitar, and theater. And I became an equity member, which is the Broadway Theater Union. And I performed in many shows, never on Broadway though, but I did tour the US a number of times doing many shows. I sang at the White House for 2 presidents. I was very blessed to do that. Actually, one was on Easter Sunday. So
Awesome.
I felt I had to go to Mass, wanted to go to Mass early in the day, and then, perform for the president later in the day, and it was a thrill. But that was a number of years ago. And since then, I've been performing in many theater clubs or nightclubs and supper clubs and working with the gentleman from the Rainbow Room. And so we do a lot of American song stuff, things like If I Can on Valentine's Day. I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. Funny, but when you're near me, I'm in the mood for love. And things like that. Of course, that has led me to have a career and express myself musically at things that I'm good at. I guess the other significant part of my life that I would like everyone to know is that I've been raised and studied in the Catholic faith and a student of preaching and learning and studying and coming to a deeper understanding of my relationship with God, Jesus, and how that affects me on a daily basis. And therefore, I direct music in a number of different parishes, churches, worship houses of all different faiths, of the Christian, Catholic, Methodist, Lutheran, Episcopal. I'm sure I'm missing a few, but I've also sung in Yiddish and in Jewish faith. And so I think that diversity has blessed me and given me a real foundation to what I'm all about as far as a human being first. and then a musician second.
Well, and you are also a father because I saw your Christmas video, which I'm guessing featured your 3 daughters in it, correct?
Well, actually, no. The little girl who played my youngest daughter is an actress,
Okay.
and she was the inspiration. Well, let me step back. My daughter was the inspiration when she was 6 years old.
Okay.
So we found a girl to play my daughter at 6 years old. And the other two are my daughters, but they are now 13 and 11.
Okay.
So I needed someone to play my daughter because that song was conceived exactly how you see it in the video. When I saw my daughter on that early Christmas, and I said, Diana, have you ever seen an angel? And you look just like an angel. And I suppose the only reason I decided to put that out in a public forum was because of the recent events at Sandy Hook in Connecticut of that tragic shooting. And those children and that whole event moved me so deeply, as it did everybody, that I wanted to put that song out there and show people that, our angels are all around us at every moment, either in the spirit world of what our faith teaches us, which is more alive and more full and more vibrant than we could ever imagine. And I wanted to share that with everyone.
Well, it's beautiful. It's beautifully done, and the girls are just. I mean, yeah. I thought you guys were all a real family because I mean, and I guess that's the sign of good acting, right? Because it was just absolutely. You could just feel that. You could feel that love. You could feel that connectedness. You could just feel that spirit within that. So so thank you for sharing. I want to know this new CD that you've released. These are original compositions that you've put together. Walk me through what that process looked like for you, because I know we hear all the time that a lot of time all these great songs are they come out of such despair, or they're usually big life things that happen that propel people to, whether it's write music or write a book or do something phenomenal with their gifts. So can you kind of and music's been a part of your life for a really long time, but this genre has now found a forefront with your talent. So can you just share with us a little bit about how that all came about?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very interesting. Because of the events of 9/11, there was a moment in my life that I was asked to sing at over a dozen funerals for the firemen. I live in New York, and that event obviously was here. And because of that very spiritual and emotional time as a Christian Catholic, but as an American, there was a need for an expression that I've never felt before, and that ensued writing all of these songs. It's taken over 10 years for me to get these songs onto paper and into the studio, and yet songs are based in the scriptures and in the stories of Jesus and our heritage and the people that I've met along the way. And that's where they really rooted. And I hope that that comes across when people listen to these songs. There's a song called Peace the World Cannot Give. And that's directly from scripture. And that song is crafted just at that event of 9/11, where those firemen and the families and all of us were grieving so deeply that I said to myself, I'm going to write a song that speaks directly to the heart of these people who are suffering deeply. And there's a line in there that says, when the world is filled with doubt and fear, and you think that God is dead and no one hears, just remember, it was God's Son who lived and died for you. Jesus knows. He's been there too.
It's beautiful. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And you know, Ash Wednesday was yesterday, so I'm sure, you know, and so now we find ourselves in this journey of Lent, and it occurs to me, you know, a lot of people think of, you know, what they're going to give up and what they're going to let go of, and you know, and how can we, you know, kind of put forth a sacrifice like Jesus did. Where would you, I want to reframe it, Tom, and ask you, where would you like to be at the end of this Lenten season in your own personal or professional life, or your faith walk? Where would you like to be?
Wow, you know, I think of that on a daily basis. I would like to be closer to God. I'm surrounded by events every day that remind me of the miracle that Jesus is, that God is, and how blessed and lucky we are, even in the midst of deep despair. You know, I often think of people who think of Jesus in just one way or another and never really encompass the whole majesty and glory of God. It's quite awe-inspiring. When I think of Jesus as a king, Alpha and Omega, it gives me a sense of calm and peace, and I feel like a child just wrapped in his father's arms and completely safe.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think of Jesus in a way that might not to you and your listeners. I can see Jesus as that dirty, smelly, ragged man who's walking the streets, who hasn't bathed in a week and is wearing the sandals on his feet. And I'm not talking about a homeless person in New York or where you live. I'm talking about Jesus himself. That is how Jesus was as well. Jesus laughed, Jesus cried, Jesus had a stomach ache and had heartache. And he experienced everything fully human.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, I want to feel more connected to God at the end of this Lent, at the end of this 5 weeks of discerning where have I been weak and where have I been less, you know, truthful to myself,
Mm-hmm.
and then find that moment to say, "Thank you, God. Thank you for saving me, for redeeming me, and for giving me life that's truly blessed."
Absolutely, absolutely. You said that absolutely perfectly. Um, so, where are we going to? Where will we see you next? Will we see you touring? Will we see you? I mean, I know you've got girls to raise, and I know travel can be an issue sometimes. But where will we see you, or do we have to come to New York to see you, Tom?
Yeah, at this point you do. But I am working on a couple of things. And once they're out there, I would love everyone to go to my website. You could either go to
Mm-hmm.
tomhumbertmusic.com. That's pretty easy, just tomhumbertmusic.com.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could go also to Tom Humbert Rainbow Room Jazz.com.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rainbow Room gentlemen and myself, we still perform quite a bit. And those are things that are usually at private events, functions for charities, and large corporate events. But the public thing that I would like to share, especially with this beautiful, you know, album that, you know, Closer to the Heart of God, or the other one, Way of Life, which is inspirational songs of faith. Um, I think the website is the best way to go now. And then hopefully I will let everyone know to see me live. And I can't wait to perform for them and for you and your audience.
Well, and we can't wait either, because I have to tell you that Christian music, contemporary Christian music, gospel music. I mean, it's just there's so much there, and then when when you take someone with a gift and a talent like yours, and you wrap up the Spirit in it, it's just beautiful. And so I'm excited to be sharing your CD with friends of mine now, because I think the gift of music is it's something that everybody can that they can respond to, and as you were saying earlier about singing in all these different faiths, I think that Jesus enjoyed music, didn't he? I mean, he absolutely, he had to, right? As a young kid, as a teenager, as an adult, I can't wait to hear, how Jesus jammed, but I'm sure that he did. Now tell me this, Tom.
Here, would I be able to play a little something?
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. We've got time. We'd love to hear from you.
Here's a song that I was just looking outside one day, and I said, "Oh my Lord, you've totally created such a beautiful world, and sometimes we're just so busy with life, and life gets in the way that we never really just sit back and just take a moment." And so I wrote this song, and I just couldn't tell you, the band that I'm with is just the hottest group of guys, and I just can't wait for everyone to see them. This is called "I Will Call Out." It goes like this. From the early morning breezes to the setting of the sun, surrounded by the glory of God's work, will I look to the horizon, past the corners of my life. Creator God has blessed me from above, filling all creation with His love. Well, I will call out to the mountains. I will call out beyond the sea. I will call out to the heavens. Blessed be God, I will call out.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, I have to ask you this. Do the girls give you feedback on your songs? Do you run any of this by them? What do they have to say about Dad's performing abilities?
It's really funny. Yeah, they give me feedback all the time. From the mouths of children, if you want to know what is honest and what is true, they'll tell you. They don't hold back. And so the nice thing is, though, if they're walking around the house singing the title track, "Closer to the heart of God, I want to be closer to the heart of God," and they're responding and singing it, and without me even knowing, they're in another room, and I just hear them singing it out loud, or in the car as we're driving to school. So yeah, yes, that's a great barometer, and I really hope that it communicates to children. And here's another thing, Rachel. When I grew up, and I was in those churches, and I was touring the United States, and I always went to a church or a worship service somewhere in the United States, wherever I ended up for that week or a month doing a show. Singing Amazing Grace or How Great Thou Art, and beautiful hymns. Sometimes I feel like the contemporary music that's created today on great radio stations that are really inspirational and good for all of us to listen to, cater to the 15-year-old to maybe the 25-year-old. And it's very hip, it's very groovy, it's very smart. I love it, I dig it, it's good. However, sometimes I think those baby boomer people might not be locking into that type of sound. And so I wrote from a sensibility of where I grew up, those hymns, but maybe now with a more contemporary feel that might speak to the people who are my age, 40, or 50-year-olds, or the 60-year-olds. And I hope that somehow connects to them musically, musical sensibilities, as well as to the message of hope and inspiration and faith.
Now, I love that because, I think you're absolutely right, Tom. You make a great point. And it's great to be able to understand the words. I think in some of these songs, they get so like this. And I was listening to your music the other day, and I'm like, I can understand everything that you're saying. And it's so wonderful. And there is a wonderful calmness about your music. I don't know if calmness is it's probably not the right word, maybe peace or clarity in your music, because I don't know, it just resonated with me in such a way as to provide some clarity and some peace at the same time, which is just marvelous. And your voice is just it's just so soothing. It's great to listen to, and I'm so excited. I've got my parents live in Australia, so I'm sending them back with one of your CDs. So I don't know what your presence is over there, but I can assure you by the time my mom and dad get done playing your CD for all their friends, there are going to be some people in Melbourne that will know about you.
Oh, you are so wonderful. I am so humbled and so thankful at the same time. It's just really nice to hear you say that. As an artist, you experiment with different things, and it's just nice to know that one thing that didn't really experiment with was working on this so much, because this truly is from my heart. It's from where I grew up. I tell you a funny story. One day I was playing with my friends when I was, I don't know, 11, 12 years old, and I came in late for dinner. And my father, he said to me, "Where have you been?" And I knew I was going to get blasted. And I said, "Dad, I was outside playing with my friends." And he said, "That's the wrong answer." He said, "If you said you were in my father's house doing my father's will, as Jesus said when he was found in the temple, he said, then you would have been punished. But now go to your
Now, you mentioned, Tom, that you have siblings. You have some other brothers, I think you mentioned. Are they
Yes.
are they working with you in this musical venue as well, or no?
No, no. I have two brothers older. They are not in the music business. One is a carpenter, and the other one is in the financial end of things. And I have a sister as well. And my sister Maria, younger, is single mother, three children. She's had a very difficult life, and she also suffers from a mental illness, a bipolar situation, which, we just saw that beautiful movie, Silver Linings Playbook,
Mm.
and it brought a beautiful insight to what people suffer with on a daily basis. And even though my brothers are not involved in my career or my sister, even though we were together when we grew up and we were singing, having such a wonderful time in the band and doing that type of thing, we were always involved in church music, singing in a choir or something, but always together as a family. And even though we've grown apart a little bit now, we're still close in a way that the Holy Spirit brings us together.
And that's what it's all about. I think with my parents living half a world away, sometimes you can't be together geographically, but that doesn't mean that you can't be together, in the spirit and in the heart. So I know we have to wrap this up, but I have to ask you to tell me, are your daughters following in their father's footsteps? Are they showing any inclinations of wanting to perform or act or sing or write?
Yes, that's a great question. They are very creative children. And I believe that just by them being here, hearing me sing every day or play the piano or the guitar or compose, there's an element that rubs off on them. So now they're going to be in a show together at school, Bye Bye Birdie, and they're singing a duet together. So their voices blend very well, which is a nice thing to have. So yeah, I suppose they will follow in my footsteps to some regard, but I'm not really sure where that's going to lead at this point. But yes, they are very creative.
Well, and it doesn't surprise me in the least bit, and I am sure that they are absolutely gorgeous on the inside and the outside as well. Bye Bye Birdie is playing at the Chanhassen Dinner Theater, so I'll have to go take a look at it and see if I can figure out what they're singing, what their part is. And you know what, Tom, I have to tell you, you've inspired me. My sister moved back to Hawaii and left me with her baby grand piano, and I think you have inspired me at the ripe old age of 50 to go back and take some more piano lessons. So thank you. Thank you for that. You've just been...
Here's one that you can probably play. Well, I don't even know chopsticks anymore.
Tom, you're way too talented. You're way too talented for chopsticks, but you know what? I can only aspire to that. But I want to thank you so much. This has been such a treat. And I just want to tell you that, you know, I will continue to listen to your music, look at your calendar, see what you're doing and what you're up to. And if you find yourself in Minneapolis, please don't hesitate. I know that that all of us here would love to come out and see you and support you in any way that we can. We thank you for sharing your gifts, for sharing your talents, and for giving all the glory to God, because it really is, that's what it's all about. And you're just an inspiration, and I've just really enjoyed sharing this time with you today.
Well, thank you so much.
So come and see us and stay warm. Thank you for joining us for today's segment of Spirited Prosperity. I'm Rachel Kirsch-Schneider, and we will see you again next time.